So, how does a company that's right on the edge not just pull back from the brink, but actually come out stronger than ever? Today, we're going to dive into the incredible turnaround of a company called Saffin. And they found that the secret to their big comeback was actually hidden inside their biggest problem: quality.
I mean, really think about that for a second. When your customers are unhappy, it feels like the world is ending, right? But what if every single complaint was actually a clue? What if all that negative feedback could be flipped and turned into a literal blueprint for success? Well, that's the big idea we're going to unpack with Saffin's story.
All right, so to really get the comeback, you have to understand just how far they fell. See, Saffin wasn't always a company in trouble. Not at all. They were a total rising star in the smartphone world, grabbing up market share like crazy and building a really passionate following. From the outside, you'd think things were perfect. But, that kind of super fast growth, it often comes with a price. In that mad dash to get bigger, their focus on quality started to slip. The very products that made them famous started showing cracks, and the foundation of their success began to feel pretty shaky.
And you better believe customers noticed. The complaints just poured in, and they were specific. We're talking phones crashing mid-call, screens that would get scratched if you looked at them wrong, and a customer support experience that just made everyone even more angry. This wasn't just a little problem. This was a 5-alarm fire.
So, with their backs against the wall, Saffin had to make a choice, a really big one. They realized they couldn't just keep putting out fires. No, they had to change their entire goal. So they shifted their focus away from just chasing sales numbers to, instead, obsessively chasing real customer satisfaction.
And their new North Star was captured in this beautifully simple formula: quality equals performance divided by expectation. Now, this was a genius move because it defined quality completely through the customer's eyes. It didn't matter what their internal chart said. All that mattered was how the phone actually performed compared to what the customer expected it to do.
And here's the kicker. Their goal wasn't just to meet expectations, to get a score of 1. The mission, the absolute obsession, was for their quality score to be greater than 1, every single time. The whole idea was to consistently blow their customers' minds by delivering more than they promised.
Now, they didn't just pull this out of thin air. They leaned on a couple of the greats in the quality world. First, from a guy named Philip Crosby, they took the idea that the product had to be built exactly to specifications, with no deviations. And from Joseph Duran, they adopted the principle that the phone had to be perfectly fit for use. It had to do what the customer needed it to do without a hitch.
Okay, so having a great goal is one thing, but how do you actually get there? Well, Saffin's real genius was in translating that new philosophy into a super clear 3-part strategy. This was their game plan to rebuild their reputation from the inside out.
Their whole plan rested on 3 big interconnected pillars. First, they started with a total redesign of the product itself. Then they completely changed their company culture to make quality everybody's mission. And finally, they juiced up the whole operation with some serious technology. Let's break down how each piece worked.
For that first pillar, the new design, they didn't just guess what better quality meant. They grabbed a powerful framework called Garvin's Dimensions of Quality. This basically gave them a systematic checklist to make every single part of the customer's experience better, from how it worked to how it looked.
And this wasn't just talk. We're talking real, tangible improvements. They boosted screen brightness and sound for better performance. They engineered a tougher phone that could actually survive a drop. They made sure the battery life was reliable. They even obsessed over the aesthetics to give it a premium feel. It was a top-to-bottom overhaul.
Now, this second pillar was maybe the most revolutionary. Saffin knew a great design doesn't mean much if the company culture is broken. So they drove this one simple idea deep in the heart of the organization. Quality is everyone's responsibility.
And when they said everyone, they meant everyone. Just look at this breakdown. Marketing's job was now to truly understand what customers expected. The design team started working hand in hand with manufacturing from day one to head off problems. And this commitment, it went all the way to the top.
I mean, this number is just wild. 35%. The CEO dedicated over 1/3 of their time to quality. And we're not talking about sitting in boring meetings. This was management by walking around, literally being on the factory floor, watching the process, talking to the people doing the work. That kind of commitment from the top, it changes everything.
And the final piece of the puzzle, the third pillar, was the technology that glued this whole new culture together and let them do it at a massive scale. Saffin invested a ton in a tech upgrade, focused on 3 key things: data analysis, process control, and automated testing.
So what does that actually look like? Well, for data, it meant they could track defects in real time and fix problems the second they popped up. For process, they brought in robots and high-precision machines to make sure every part was perfect. And for testing, it meant every single phone that came off the line got a full automated quality audit. No exceptions. So, they had a new goal, this awesome three-pillar strategy, and a massive investment in their people and their tech. The stage was set. But the million-dollar question remained. After all that, did it actually work? Let's check out the results.
And the answer was a massive, resounding yes. The impact wasn't just a small improvement. Saffin's all-in approach didn't just stop the bleeding, it totally reversed the company's nosedive, and they smashed the ambitious goal they had set for themselves.
And here it is, the proof. Remember that formula? Q is greater than 1? It wasn't just a target on a whiteboard anymore. It became their new reality. They were now, officially and systematically, exceeding what their customers expected. The final scorecard really tells the whole story. Those defects that almost sank the company, gone. As a direct result, customer satisfaction went through the roof, and with happy customers, success came roaring back, letting Saffin reclaim its spot as a major player in a brutal market. They had turned their biggest weakness into their greatest strength.
You know, Saffin's story is such a powerful lesson. It shows that focusing on quality isn't just about playing defense. It's the ultimate offensive strategy for growth. And it leaves us with a really important question to think about in our own worlds. What is the one dimension of quality, whether it's durability, service, or even just how it looks, that your customers care about more than anything else? Because the answer to that might just be your own blueprint for success.